Hello everyone, it is I, dannphan, and today I have a little bit of a proposition for you. An announcement of a new kind of content, if you will. But first, let me explain and lay the groundwork for this. I love indie comics, and I do love seeing indie comics succeed. As I've said before, rising tides lift all ships. I do my own indie comics. I like reading other people's indie comics. And yes, I do like reviewing indie comics. Are they all good? No. But neither is the mainstream printed stuff, so you get hits and you get misses. But for years of reviewing whatever indie comic I wanted to review on the channel, I've had to kind of grapple with the fact that YouTube is not really incentivizing me to review said comic. For example, when I review a comic that I really like and I'm linking people back to where they can find the comic, I also kind of have to surrender promoting my own stuff. It's so much better to advertise to people when you're pointing them to a specific place, a specific direction. So promoting my own stuff while also promoting a new indie comic that I really like doesn't usually mesh together very well. And on the flip side, I don't really gain a new audience by promoting a comic that nobody's ever heard of. Sure, my current audience will watch the video, they'll be interested in my recommendations, but there basically is no algorithm on YouTube that is promoting unfamiliar stuff to you. It's constantly promoting topics that fit a certain genre of IP. Like if you watch an Acolyte review, it's not gonna then promote to you a review of some other indie, never heard of before sci-fi show that is actually good. It's just going to keep on promoting Acolyte reviews to you, which is great if you like watching the same video over and over again, but it's really frustrating for when you're trying to find something new or healthy alternatives. And obviously I want to be able to promote more indie stuff more effectively. It's part of the reason why last year I was opening up submissions on Burning Star Comics so that people would have like a direct platform that kind of links back to my channel where I'm always promoting the website, and they can also be selling their own stuff on the website and I can tell people about it on here. But going back to what the topic of this video actually is, what I am offering now are paid reviews. I think reviews and feedback are very often overlooked and hard to come by when it comes to people just starting out doing indie comics. It is so hard to get people to look at your stuff in general. It's even harder to have those people who did look at your stuff tell you what they think about it and give you like constructive criticism that'll help you either fix it or that'll help you on your second book. And I think a lot of people who are starting off early will often maybe look to friends or family to give them early feedback. I've even suggested people do that in many cases. The only problem with it is, are they going to give you honest feedback? Because you do need pure honesty. And in a lot of cases, I think pure honesty is even more valuable from someone who also does comics or also does art. Is your main audience for comics going to be people who do comics and do art? No. But I think in general, people who are also in the same industry as you will have the experience to give you real advice, whereas a lot of people who don't have that experience, who are completely out of the comics realm, they'll know that something is bad, but they won't know why it's bad. So for people who are just starting out early with their project and they just need that initial feedback, you can pay to have an off-screen review. I'm not saying that it'll completely replace an editor. And then there's the other option, which is I will do an actual video review for your comic. Now, I would not suggest this option for the lighthearted, because it's one thing to get back an honest review, and it's another thing to get back an honest review in front of an audience of people online. They are very different experiences, but online reviews are always helpful for indie creators, because the only way that you actually become popular is if people are talking about your comic, and reviews are a good doorway into getting people talking about it. That's part of the reason why I am constantly asking people, please review the comic. After you buy my comics, please review it. Even if you're not going to do a video review, just post about it online or leave a star review on my website. No matter where you're reviewing it, any review helps because you're talking about it, you're recommending it, you're giving it the potential to have a fan base. Whereas if nobody talks about it, no potential to have a fan base. Nobody's ever going to know the comic exists. Reviews are also valuable for that sweet, sweet SEO. And for those of you who don't know what SEO means, it just means search engine optimization. So, for example, my recent series, Reaper, terrible SEO. And part of this is my fault because I knew that I was giving it a kind of generic name. Originally, I wanted to call it Soul Reaper, but that's kind of taken by Bleach now, isn't it? Because there are other comics out there that just generally have Reaper in the title because it's just one word and it's a new series that hasn't really made its mark yet. Not very good SEO. But you know what could help it actually have better search engine optimization is if there were multiple people reviewing it. If there were multiple people talking about this series, then people would start to recognize the name as being specifically attached to this comic. And then when you search Reaper comic, that would hopefully be what shows up. Now, even furthermore, I will always make my videos as entertaining as I can. This could be a selling point for your comic, or it could be a point of mockery for your comic. It really just depends on whether or not I liked it. But either way, I do feel confident that I'll be able to keep people's attention when I do make these videos. Now, some of you might be asking, well, why can't we just send you our comic for free for the feedback? That's what you used to do, dannphan. Why did you stop doing that? Why are you now saying that you want to charge us for comic feedback? To be fair, it was kind of ridiculous how many people have sent me their comic for feedback, and it took a lot of time out of my day. Honestly, that's part of the that's why I stopped doing it, because it took a lot of time out of my day, and I didn't gain anything from it because when I did make the video, even if I wanted to make the video, right, I don't have as much potential to promote my own comics when I'm reviewing another indie comic that I want to promote. Like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, it's just very muddy, and I end up not promoting either because it's completely unfocused. Like, which link should the audience go to? The comic that she's reviewing or the website that she owns? So I feel like future videos, when I do these paid reviews, I can actually focus on just promoting the person who made the comic and not have to worry so much about promoting my own stuff. The reason why is because I want to use the funds from those reviews to directly spend on advertising for my own website. So it's kind of like this cycle of promotion, right? I promote your comic, and then I pay other people to promote my stuff. And in general, we just create this trend of more and more people promoting indie comics. Rising tides lift all ships, etc. Is it actually gonna work? Well, I guess we'll wait and see, huh? I like the idea, and I'm excited to give it a shot. Now, I first got this idea from a channel called Coffee Comics. He does his own paid reviews, and I even paid him to do a review of Reaper Book 1. And he typically just does a rundown of the story, like he views it page by page. He does it all in one take, and he just like explains, I felt this way about this, etc., etc. Not a lot of like hard editing like I do in my videos. But I think the entertaining thing about those videos, despite the lack of editing, is the fact that he is brutally harsh. And I appreciate the harshness for sure, because like I said, a lot of people just aren't gonna give you harsh feedback because they're scared of hurting your feelings. But if you wanted something that was less of a general breakdown of the comic, and you wanted something edited and shorter, you would come to my channel. And if you wanted something like, say, what Chalupa does. Chalupa is another YouTuber that I've done comic read-throughs with. He does mostly webtoon breakdowns, but he also got paid for a review of another comic series, and he does it in the same style that he does any other review on his channel. So if you haven't watched my reviews, you should watch those so that you get a general gist of what my review would look like of your comic. Keep in mind that it's going to be an honest review and that you might get harsh critique. I don't know if I'm as harsh as Coffee Comics, but I'm pretty up there. Now obviously there are some rules that need to be set in place if I'm going to be doing this. I don't want to have to do a review of something over 200 pages. Like, I'll give you a manga-sized story, because I usually judge a manga series by like reading the first volume and like figuring out if I want to keep reading based on that first book. Usually those books are around 100 to 200 pages. Obviously, not every comic is going to be written like a manga. Not every comic's gonna have good flow, so it could be absolute hell to read your comic if it's 200 pages, but I figure I might as well be fair. But I am not accepting anything over the 200 page limit. If you send me something that is 201 pages, I'm not reading it. Those are the rules. Respect them, please. I'm not reading scripts, don't like scripts, don't like them at all. And in general, people are not very good at writing scripts. So just come out and say it, yeah. A lot of you are not good at describing a scene, and a lot of scripts just kind of boil down to two people talking to each other and me not visually knowing what's going on at all. So we're gonna avoid scripts entirely. And lastly, don't send me anything that's not safe for work. Don't send me porn. Quite frankly, I read enough pseudo-porn here on the channel by accident. And you know what? Nobody gives a shit if your porn has a good plot. So why are you looking for feedback in the first place? But yeah, if you are interested in me reviewing your comic, you can contact me at the Gmail that I use for almost everything, trishgafari@gmail.com. Now, just because I'm opening up the option to do paid reviews, that doesn't mean that I want it to take up the entire channel. I do still want to do my regular content. I like the wild card content that I do on here occasionally, and I do still enjoy doing the read-throughs. So if you're worried, oh no, dannphan's only gonna do paid reviews from now on, that's not gonna actually be the case. If I have a paid review to do, it's probably just gonna be an extra video to add on to the week. And I think in general, it might even help when it comes to balancing out the negative and positive content on this channel. So let me know what you think of this idea in general. If you have a comic that you'd like to see me review on the channel, contact me. Any other minor details that you have about things, you know, we can always talk about in an email and figure out what works best for you specifically. And if you don't really care so much about other people's comics that are not mine, then check out burningstarcomics.net. Alright guys, I don't know how to end the video, so bye!